Today's topic of discussion is hypergamy. So, hypergamy is effectively a feeling in all women that God has put in all of them. It is effectively there to optimize the best possible partner that they can attain for survival and to procreate offspring. So, first point is a woman is looking for a man of higher value. So, when she's looking for a man of higher value, that man is effectively bringing more to the table. So, if he's constantly improving himself, so mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually, he's working on his purpose, he's doing all the right things in life, he's bringing more value to the table than what that woman does. So for hypergamy to be satisfied, she needs a man who brings more to the table, and you need to let her know that you're effectively bringing more to the table. Because if it's a situation where she's saying, oh, this and that, I provide more value and so on, then you got to let her know that no, that's not the case. For this relationship to continue and for this relationship to work, so whether it's pre-marriage or after marriage, you need to let her know that you're effectively providing more value. So if she starts to doubt your value, then hypergamy isn't satisfied, and then eventually she'll exit. So you guys need to keep that in mind. So you need to effectively bring more to the table. You can't just say you're bringing more to the table either. So you need to actually bring more value to the table. So that's important. Next point is higher MMV. So you hear it on the internet when it comes to SMV, so sexual market value. However, that's not something which is accurate when it comes to taking into account the spirituality side of it. So this term here I've created, so MMV, so I'm going to be using that more in the videos ongoing. So MMV stands for marriage market value. So marriage market value is effectively a guy's value, so a man and a woman, right? So when they're effectively trying to get married to somebody, that marriage market value needs to be higher. So a woman needs to look at that man and say, okay, this guy here can clearly pull a woman at her level or higher. So if that's the case, hypergamy is now satisfied. So if the MMV is lower, so marriage market value is lower, then hypergamy is not going to be satisfied, and she's not going to be satisfied in that relationship. So you'll see a lot of guys in relationships nowadays where the woman has effectively categorized him as the beta male provider. So the beta male provider is somebody who's treated as an ATM machine. He is used for his free attention, validation, and resources. And then it gets to the point where she's extracted so much from him, then she just exits the relationship. So that's really important, guys. So your marriage market value needs to be higher, and you need to be able to replace a woman at her level or higher in order for her to really respect you. And we're going to talk about that in the after point as well. But it goes back to it. That's the only way hypergamy can be satisfied, is where you can replace a woman at her level or higher. If you cannot do that, hypergamy won't be satisfied. Next point is pre-selection. So for hypergamy to be satisfied, she needs to know that you're a man who's pre-selected. So a pre-selected man is somebody who can get multiple women. So when it comes to dealing with women, so one or two women, so let's say that you're speaking to them for marriage purposes, you've passed their interest tests with flying colors. They're effectively attached to you. So it takes about at least 3 to 6 months for a woman to become attached to the man. So then when you've passed their tests, you are a man who's pre-selected. You're somebody who can get multiple women at that woman's level or higher. So when you speak to another woman, then she'll know full well, she'll ask you the question, are you speaking to other women for marriage purposes, or are you speaking to other women right now? Your answer needs to be that you are speaking to other women. If you're not speaking to other women, then you guys need to start talking to other women. You need to get yourself out there. So whether it's through family. So a lot of guys, I know a lot of guys nowadays, they'll just do through, let's say, through family or through friends, or you going out and about, and you actually going to events, or you're just speaking to people in general, and then you come across a sister or practice sister who looks like she's of somewhat value. So I tell guys as well, whenever you're speaking to a woman for marriage purposes, you want to have your set standards, where you've got your list here, and she needs to tick pretty much a large amount of them. So from initial attraction, so she needs to be wearing like hijab, modest clothing, she needs to be well mannered, she's somebody who is not promiscuous, and you can see from her behavior that she seems like a genuine sister. So with that, then you can just speak to her for marriage purposes, get her contact details, or whether it's her social media or phone number. So preferably you want to try and get social media side of it. So with the social media, you can effectively leverage that, where on that you're showing that you're working on your purpose, and she can gauge more of your personality from the actual content that you're creating. Does that make sense, guys? So with the phone number is more outdated, but it's still, you can still use it. You understand? So then with that, you wanna, with the social media side of it, you always want to keep it as brief and as simple as possible. So when you speak to a girl on social media or on the phone, do not get caught up in the whole texting game, because with that, right, that's gonna lead you to a whole bunch of other tests that a woman's gonna throw at you. So you need to be keeping the texting game as setting meetings and to speak to the woman in person. So it's really important, guys. So that's what it is with the pre-selection. So the pre-selection is someone who can get multiple women. So she can recognize that based off of your behavior as a man. So with your behavior, right, there's going to be times where, I've talked about this in the previous video, there's going to be times when you're going to have to put in time delays, where you're going to stop speaking to her for like a day, 2 days, a week, or so on. You're just working on your purpose, you're talking to other women, and she's not a priority in speaking to her for marriage purposes. If you start to make her a priority early on, she'll clock on that you're not clearly a man who's pre-selected. So you guys need to realize that. So you can't put on a front either. Do you understand? So a lot of women, what they'll do is they'll clock on whether this guy is pretending to reply 2-3 hours later. So when it comes to the replies, so let's say you're talking to a girl on text message, you want to reply to her in the evening times. So in the evening times, in the late evening times, that will let her know, and you tell her, look, right now during my day, I'm working on my purpose. I've got other things going on. I'm talking to other people. You're talking to other women for marriage purposes, and you haven't got time to be texting her throughout the day. So I hope that makes sense, guys. So you guys need to take note of that. Next point is respect. So with respect, right, for hypergamy to be satisfied, she needs to have a high amount of respect for you. So if her respect starts to go down and starts to get lower, that creates a problem in the relationship, where hypergamy is no longer satisfied, and she sees it as, this guy here is not a safe bet for survival. So you guys need to always maintain your level of respect, and you need to walk away at any point in time when a woman's showing any type of disrespectful behavior. Because if she's showing any type of disrespectful behavior, then you need to withdraw all your energy, and then you slap her with the no contact. So with no contact, you just hit her with that, and that will sort of out, trust me. That right there, you're just cutting off the oxygen supply. So you're effectively withdrawing all your attention, all your validation, all communication, everything. And that makes her second guess, and she thinks, wow, this has never happened to me before. So a lot of guys, they don't even know about no contact, and then they don't even apply it, and they haven't got the backbone to apply it to a woman. So when a woman gets hit with a no contact, she starts to think, right, this guy here, he must have other options. So when it comes to the pre-selection, he must have other options that he's speaking to. And then those women there are clearly at her level or higher. So then hypergamy is satisfied. You understand? So then what will happen is week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, certain times it can go on long. Certain times go on for a couple months, 2-3 months sometimes. So that's on the far end of it, where she'll break the no contact, and then she'll realize that, right, this guy here, I've got no power over him. I've got no sense of leverage over him, because he can clearly pull women at my level. So hypergamy is going to be satisfied then. And then the next point is internal. So for a woman to love you and for hypergamy to be satisfied, she needs to fall in love with your internal value, your internal characteristics. So External is all money, status, looks, what you look like. So if you go to the gym or whatever the case is, that's all external. The internal side of it is who you are as a man, so your masculinity, so your principles and boundaries. So I've mentioned this in other videos as well. A lot of guys nowadays, they haven't got masculinity in them. So they may look like on the exterior that they are doing all these things here, but when it comes to the internal side, the internal is lacking, and they haven't got any control over, for example, their desires. So desires are a guy who's led by his desires, so he does not show sexual indifference towards a woman, and he's led astray by a woman. So a woman can effectively dictate what he does. So based off of, let's say, what a woman does, she'll wear makeup, she'll wear provocative clothing. All these guys, right, they'll end up, trying to talk to her, and then they'll start piling on the validation. The woman subconsciously, this is what it is, from subconsciously, she may, start initiating conversation to talk to him, but from the biological subconscious level, that will not turn her on, that won't attract her, that won't increase her desire. Reason being is because this man here is led by his desires. And then with the story of Adam and Eve, if you guys have read that story as well, Adam and Eve, both of them ate from the tree, right, forbidden tree, and then they got banished to earth because they disobeyed God. And then Adam wasn't the effective leader in that. So if he was the leader and he was leading properly, they wouldn't have gotten banished to earth. So that's really important. You need to lead with your internal value, guys. So I hope that makes sense. So higher value, you need to be somebody of higher value. You bring them all to the table. You're somebody with a higher marriage market value. So that's really important. You guys need to have that set standard where you are able to pull women at her level or higher. Pre-selection. So you are somebody who can get multiple women, and you don't get attached to no woman. So if a woman's not cooperating with you and she's not complying with you, guess what? You're going to replace her with a woman at her level or higher. Respect. So you want to maintain your level of respect at all times with a woman. If a woman starts to show any type of disrespect, what you do is you just slap her with a no contact, and then that will fix her. That's what it is. And then internal. So you want to lead with your internal qualities. So your personality, your confidence, your deen, your character. These are what women fall in love with. So that's your internal. And then the best example is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, how he had all the best internal qualities, and then at one point he had up to 9 wives, and then he had 11 wives in total, but he had 9 wives that he was seeing all in one go, and he was able to maintain all those relationships. So it shows the level of internal value, and it shows the level of marriage market value that he had, which was the best. So hope that makes sense. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.